Someone once asked Ben Franklin about our form of government. He asked, do we have a monarchy or a republic? Ben Franklin says, you have a republic if you can keep it. Item from the Washington Examiner. Nearly every voter in the nation believes the U.S. Supreme Court impacts their everyday life, but a majority cannot name a single justice on the all-important bench, according to a new survey. Related item from Breitbart. The chairman of a Connecticut school board submitted his resignation after the board voted in favor of reciting the Pledge of Allegiance at the start of each meeting. You have a republic if you can keep it. My friends, our grasp, our hold on our republic is weaker than it's ever been. Not because we've been invaded by a yellow horde or by the Soviets. Not because flying saucers have landed. Not because of Russian collusion. Not even because of the Clintons. Our grasp on our republic is weak because too many of us simply do not care. We are the most entertained population in the history of the world. We're ignorant, we're complacent, we're apathetic, we're cynical, we're spoiled, we're lazy. And that's how you lose a republic. Ben Franklin knew it. So did the other framers of the Constitution. So did all the people in the fledgling country called America, because they had to fight to establish it. And having done so, they knew the importance of fighting to maintain it. We don't. The greatest generation fought World War II. They're almost gone. We have been the most comfortable generation, the most pampered generation, the most spoiled. And as a result, we don't really know what it's like to fight for much of anything. I mean, some of us do. But for only one person in 10 to be able to name even one judge on the Supreme Court, for this idiot in Connecticut to resign his job rather than stand for the Pledge of Allegiance before meetings, we've lost our way. We've lost our grip on our republic. I've been doing this show now for 10 years and 2 days because we need to get that grip back. And that's what this show is dedicated to. It's Tuesday. It's Riell Truth. We'll be back.
Visit them online or call 970-493-4077. 970-493-4077.
It's not of God, and this is the spirit.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Howard Riell, Riell Truth. Over in South Africa, white farmers are being murdered and having their farms stolen by their black countrymen. Here's Ann Coulter on the Howie Carr Show talking about it.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, everybody. This is Steve Robinson, as I said, the producer for the Fantasy Slaves. Welcome to a group
Well, true, but John McCain was also a traitor to his voters. He was also a rhino. He was not a conservative, though he tried to make people convinced of the fact that he was. And when it came time to kill Obamacare, which he said for years he wanted to do, all he had to do was vote yes, and he voted no. So John McCain is gone, and that's okay by me.
I think it probably was just a mix-up, though I will say the media hysteria over Trump's statement on John McCain, a radical who announced beforehand that he didn't have confidence in himself, and in his posthumous statement read by an aide, was taking shots at Trump. I mean, Trump has given a completely overly sentimental tribute to John McCain on Twitter. They would attack him for being a lawyer trying to grab on to McCain's story. He made, a simple statement that I guess he thinks for someone who has been and remains, I suppose, they would.
Now, I can ask you a question about a story that I think is a little bit more important than the disposition of the flag on top of the White House. And that is the new developments that we're learning about this terror compound in New Mexico, where you had a collection of terrorists living out in a compound that could have come straight out of both of these rubber tires stacked around circles and tunnels going every which way. We now learn in court filings that they were actually planning a terror attack on a hospital in Atlanta. And I saw the story that you tweeted out where CNN wants us to think that the story is not, hey, there's a terror cell operating out in New Mexico and they had concrete plans to engage in terrorist attacks, and how many others are there that could be out there? CNN wants us to believe that the real story here is about how these terrorists cover. Hard knock life that they lived out there, torturing their children. One of them ended up dying, all in the pursuit of some terrorist attack on a hospital and potentially refused.
And this is why America's dying. Because there are people in America who are defending those animals, those terrorist animals. Think about it. The terrorists abused and in one case killed their children. They set up this camp specifically to wage jihad. They had concrete plans to attack a hospital, and there are Americans defending them. There are Americans sympathetic to them. That is the cancer that's slowly killing us, sometimes not so slowly.
It is. I mean, politicians are pretty new. And to have a group of people training children to engage in it's almost like having a charity disease, but you have to know they were Muslims and Muslims, so we can't support that.
they're historically marginalized communities. I believe is the phraseology.
Not historically in this country, because we don't have a country complain about any marginalization. Hearing about affirmative action, special treatment, special schooling, diversity laws for anyone except descendants of African Americans are what we have all these rules for. You can't arrive yesterday and then say, I'm a threat, yeah, okay, you're a threat, but not my well.
What Ann Coulter is saying is absolutely correct. Now you can try telling that to liberals. Liberals who feel but don't think. They hear that someone's oppressed and their heart starts to bleed, and they can't fall over themselves fast enough giving them your money and your communities.
The perpetrators.
I guess the whole idea of like racial oppression kind of brings us to the issue that I know you've been speaking about in South Africa, and it's kind of come to the fore of the American media because the president's tweeted out about it, and that is the forcible land seizure of the land owned by white farmers in South Africa. And I guess my understanding is that initially started out as a voluntary thing with the government would buy the land and then redistribute it to victims of apartheid. And now because the president of the United States is standing up for property rights, which is the foundational values of American democracy, because he's standing up for property rights.
It is one of the foundational values of any civilization. You can't have a functioning civilization without property rights. An egregious example you're hearing is in South Africa where they're stealing farms. By the way, another egregious example is America, where the government takes your money forcibly. Even with Obamacare, they were basically taking your money and giving it to other people. It's the same phenomenon. It comes down to property rights, whether the property is your land or your money. It's the government taking away what you have earned through your own work. And you can't have a civilization like that. And as you see here in America, our civilization is weakening and weakening exactly because of that. We'll be back.
John, and a crime thing, it's what the CEO of my said. He who comes after me is before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hope these truths to be self-evident. Not all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power and the government. This is the American News Network.
Chaplain Colin Hill, with our emergency first responders to the professional I'm glad to feel the whole thing. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. We're also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Colin, LLC, the two locations in Nipper and Fort Collins. Serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chapelcollins.com. Total contribution to the men of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. It's provided for total concrete versus the 44 season, the top road in Tonga, proud to turn the entire area into work on behalf of our future. More information for 970 3780.
My friends, I was at lunch the other day with a liberal, an Obama-Hillary voter. And at a certain point, I mentioned socialism and how wonderful it's going to be when America is a socialist country. The liberal said nothing. What the hell could he say? He knew he was not in a room filled with low information voters. He was in a room filled with educated, informed people. And there's no way he could defend socialism, and so he just made like I hadn't said it. Here is Ben Shapiro at the Young Americans Foundation meeting talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and other morons who want socialism in America.
These countries became wealthy long before they started socialism.
My friends, let's get back to Ben Shapiro. Here we go. Talking about socialism, because it appears to be a popular talking point these days. Why, I cannot imagine. Let's see if we can get this video back up and running. I think I can. You know, Ben Shapiro offered to debate Ocasio-Cortez. There we go. This is Dinesh D'Souza talk, answering a question. Listen closely.
This is, by the way, why the Democrats are critical about holding that
My friends, how refreshing is that? To hear someone honest enough to say he doesn't have solutions to all the world's problems. And he doesn't. And as a country, we have to get together and find solutions. Problem is, when the government keeps that from happening, that's the problem, and the government is very good at that. Let us jump tracks here for a minute. I want to go back to what Ann Coulter was saying on the Howie Carr show for 2 more minutes.
And this is a white supremacist dogmas. I don't understand this. I guess can you fill me in on why it's a problem for the President of the United States to have property rights and
Well, I think it's more than that. Genocide going on the globe. We're always being told we have to rescue, that genocide in general, as in the Gulf War, if you have roaring crowds of some extent, and we have to rush in to take the loser side in the bar fight. But yeah, they'll just go back and forth, fighting one another. That isn't what's happening here. The other important fact about what's going on is the Boers were in South Africa before the American liberals are such idiots. They just think, oh, let's make a just like the Native American Indians. And the white settlers came in. No, the white farmers were there first. And then the Zulus came from the north, wiped out any tribes that were existing there. You are looking at a genuine genocide here, and it's on both sides. You don't have the Boer farmers going in and slaughtering, they're farming, they're feeding the Zulus. So it's a very serious matter.
My friends, you ever hear of Rhodesia? Nowadays, it's Zimbabwe. When it was Rhodesia, it was the breadbasket of the continent of Africa. Once the whites were pushed out and the blacks took over the government, became Zimbabwe, they can barely feed themselves. What's happening in South Africa? They're getting rid of the farmers, people who feed everybody. What's going to take the white farmer's place? I can tell you. Starvation. We'll be back.
Animal health taxidermy and rights. Thank you to all the gay men and women in our force who have served our country. Business owners, consider hiring business our most dependable resource. And to those heroes back home for missions abroad, know that your dedication, selflessness, and courage are appreciated. May God bless America. This message is from Animal House Taxidermy and Rights. Proud to salute the fighting forces of our country. This is my The American Kingdom. Check the money. You about 175. I'm called 805. You about 175. Color 805. Help us be voice. Please, on here. Now this is the testimony of John, and priest of Levi from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19, 20. 24-hour Walmart supercenter, not the other one. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, and courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families put the bill for our freedom every day with the military care package today to let us know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associate at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care. We live in the blocker planning, which reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples for their peers and families to be the best they can be. As from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Grand Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized THC and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
My friends, you know the name Jim Brown. My friends, one of the greatest athletes in the history of the NFL. Played in the 1960s, had all the records until he retired, and even afterwards. He has been an activist on behalf of African Americans. He was recently interviewed on Fox News. Let's hear what he has to say. And you know what's interesting, my friends? Let me jump in. Jim Brown has just talked about 3 or 4 minutes about the president. I haven't heard the word racist yet. That's because Jim Brown knows that all those people screaming that Donald Trump is racist, they're all lying, intentionally lying, trying to slander him, and by the way, trying to slander all Republicans and conservatives. Jim Brown will not be fooled.
Do you feel as though he's producing for the black community?
Well, I'll tell you, it's very hard to produce for the black community in a certain way. The black community, and I'm a part of the black community, has a responsibility regardless of what the president does. And if you have a homicide rate within your black community, then it's not the president that's created that homicide rate. It's the black community itself that needs to address it. So I don't want to just put everything on him. And I'm sorry to say that the black community is not doing what we should do, and that includes myself. I can work harder, I can donate more money, I can go more places, but we have to be able to, as citizens, bring something that the president can join forces with and triple the effectiveness of it.
Hey, Jim, do you look at this president, the times you've said one-on-one before and after him being president, is he a racist?
I'm so glad you asked me that. Of course not. You know, is America racist? Of course not. The emancipation, the advancement of black people in this country is based upon white people who risk their lives just to do the right thing to make the playing field equal and balanced. So we always talk about the negative, but what about the positive? How many black athletes are millionaires because of those fans, white fans that go to those games? The NBA, the National Football League, those organizations would be out of business if it were not for people of, not of color, but white people that go to those games and support those teams. So we have to give credit to the positive aspect of what people are doing in America and stop going to the negative first.
Well said. Jim, you said, hey, listen, and I watch you on Hard Knocks on HBO, and he said, I would never be kneeling for the national anthem. Shannon Sharp, a Hall of Fame tight end, said this on Fox, says, if what Jim Brown's saying is true, if what Colin Kaepernick is doing in 2017 is wrong, then what Jim Brown did in 1967 was wrong when he led a protest to support Muhammad Ali for being a conscientious objector to the war. What do you say?
That is a completely stupid comment. Muhammad Ali broke the law, and he was punished for breaking the law. What the NFL morons are doing in kneeling for the national anthem is completely different. They're simply spitting on the flag, spitting on the American people, and spitting on this country. It's apples and oranges.
I say thanks. You know, the bottom line is this. We should never denigrate our flag and our national anthem. We should always be Americans first, and we should work our butts off to do the right thing and make it a better country. But to not respect your flag and your national anthem is something that I would never do.
I want you to hear, by the way, people that have joined you in the support of the president, George Foreman, Dennis Rodman, Kanye West, Herschel Walker, Mike Tyson. I want you to hear what Spike Lee said at Cannes Film Festival about America.
You know what? Let's do this. I have no interest in hearing what Spike Lee has to say. The guy is a racist and a moron for decades. I don't need to be reminded of it. I will put my money on Jim Brown. The man is universally respected for his accomplishments, his activism, his intelligence. He has met personally with Donald Trump over a period of many, many years. He says Donald Trump is not a racist, and of course he's correct. Of course he's right. But that won't stop people on the left from screaming racism because it gets them what they want. There's a profit motive involved. The left thinks, at least, that they get votes when they say that. People feel they're empowered when they can slander someone else. Let's put this whole racism jazz aside. Let's think of ourselves as Americans without color, except red, white, and blue. And let's start making this country great again, because if we don't, like I said at the beginning of the show, our republic is going to slip out of our hands, continue to slip out of our hands, and life here is just going to get worse. That will be the bottom line. Let's stop with the divisiveness. Let's bring people in this country together behind law. We are a country of laws, and if we're not, then we're not even a country anymore. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the next segment of Riell Truth.
And his fullness he hath called to speak, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. John chapter 1, verse 16. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the person or thing to be seen. If catastrophe struck, will your family be prepared? Are you confident you wouldn't react in a panic? Is it one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Marriage Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Marriage Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Marriage Survival. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Brightown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
All right, guys, here is Mark Stein on the Tucker Carlson show. Well, you'll hear what they're talking about. This is Bill Maher, and he is a complete rectum. I won't even glorify his comments by responding to them. I'll simply get right past them.
Reading fast.
Excuse me, Maxine Waters has already been the first to call for that, and we've been seeing violence from the left since Donald Trump announced he was going to run for president. My friends, I'm not getting why this is unusual. Robert Reich is a liberal's liberal, he's a Clintonista, and he refuses to recognize reality. What part is mystifying people? Liberals never recognize reality. Liberals believe whatever they feel like believing, and they call that reality. So the fact that Robert Reich wants to wipe out what's real and replace it with his wet dream, it's just same old, same old.
Actually, that is harmful to the so-called peaceful transfer of power, and in that sense, Reich should be ashamed of himself.
So, but that's kind of the key. Here you have not just some pundit on MSCNN or whatever, but here you have a former cabinet secretary and a well-regarded one. I mean, I know him, and he is a legitimately smart guy. And then a former CIA director who's not a legitimately smart guy, but still a former CIA director. I mean, these are the pillars of the establishment. What is it, macro question, about Trump that drives the ruling class to say things like this, irrational things, crazy things?
Well, I think there is a general presumption that it's not just that he won, but that he shouldn't have won. And therefore, because he shouldn't have won, he cannot really have won.
All right, that's not the complete that's not the complete answer. One, yeah, they feel he shouldn't have won, but Democrats have lost elections before. Donald Trump has come in and been incredibly effective, as opposed to Democrat Barack Obama, who was totally ineffective. When you accomplish nothing, and the next guy comes in and starts knocking out accomplishments left and right, it makes you look like an inept boob. And that's what the left can't stand, because Trump is shining the light on the fact that liberals have no answers. Democrats have no answers. He makes them look bad every single time he accomplishes something, which is almost daily. And that's a big part of the reason they despise him so much. He's making them look bad daily.
That's the hard news.
My friends, it is once again liberals at war with reality. Liberals as children. If they don't like what they're seeing and hearing, they close their eyes, they cover their ears, and they hum real loud so they won't hear anything. Of course, that way, they never learn anything either. We'll be back. Item from Breitbart. Billionaire Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babis said on Monday that a comprehensive action plan is necessary to stop illegal migration, which he will address on a visit to Italy and Malta this week. Quote, if Italy and Malta won't welcome the migrants, then Spain will, and so we're sending the message to migrants that it's possible to come to Europe, he said. This has to stop. Otherwise, we'll never stop the migrant influx. I plan to discuss this with EU leaders and take part in implementing a comprehensive action plan. Unquote. My friends, that's a very, very smart thing to say and to do. My question is, why is the Prime Minister of this Czech nation smarter than we are here in America? Item from the Mercury News. When San Jose's Bishop Patrick McGrath went hunting in Silicon Valley for a place to settle down and retire, he knew it wouldn't be easy to find a modestly priced abode in one of the country's most expensive real estate markets. But his decision to buy a $2.3 million 5-bedroom home in the city's desirable Willow Glen neighborhood on the Diocese of San Jose's dime raised some eyebrows among the diocese's 640,000 Catholics, given the church's mission of charity and serving the poor. Unquote. I would say this is yet another black eye for the Catholic Church. Item from CNBC. Stocks rose on Tuesday, boosted by an improved outlook on global trade after the U.S. and Mexico struck a deal. The Standard & Poor's 500 rose 0.2% to break above 2,900 for the first time ever. Thank you, President Trump. Item from ABC News. Deaths from self-injury, a category that includes drug and alcohol abuse and committing suicide, has surpassed diabetes as the 7th leading cause in the U.S., a study has shown. Item from CBSNews.com. 4 in 10 Americans are struggling to pay for their basic needs, such as groceries or housing, a problem even middle-class households confront, according to a new study from the Urban Institute. Item from Breitbart. Over 1,000 right-wing supporters spontaneously gathered in Chemnitz city center on Monday, following the fatal stabbing of a man allegedly by migrants, with some attacking foreigners and yelling anti-migrant slogans. My friends, you see it all over the world. Migrants are causing havoc. Legal, illegal, doesn't really matter. The migrants are coming from the third world, from peasant cultures, from third world garbage cultures where learning and civilization and accomplishment are not valued, never have been valued, where personal hygiene is nil. There are people coming here with absolutely nothing positive to offer Western countries. They're coming with hungry mouths to feed, people who feel they're entitled, and by the way, they also hate you. So when does the West get smart? When did the West realize that it's not a matter of race? It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with culture. Some cultures are better than others. And the third world cultures are sending people here. How can I put this gently? They suck. And when those people come here, they inflict their sucky culture on us. Well, I am all for rejecting sucky culture. In fact, maybe I'll turn that into a bumper sticker or something. Reject sucky culture. But as long as innocent people are being beaten, raped, murdered, I will continue to reject third world culture. When those people can raise their standards and raise the level of life in their own countries, then they can come here, do whatever they want. Until then, we need to keep them from coming here. I will see you tomorrow.